Welcome back to the planet. This is Planet One Podcast. It's nice to have you here. Nice to have you along as we take another orbit around our solar system. Greg Angello with you on the spaceship. We're just having ourselves just a blast-off time. And we welcome you all back here. Nice to have you all here with us. January 2023, right in the middle of it. January 18th on the date of the recording. And it's exciting to be here. We're going to talk about a number of things today. Some of them are going to be a little bit funny, not so deep, not so heavy as, the last podcast that we did, which we just finished up last weekend. So hopefully that you had an opportunity to check that one out. Is anything radically going on with your life? That was the title of that one, and we know that was kind of deep. We might be saving some of those deep ones for the weekend, for you to absorb it all. And you might need a few days to get there. Might not be one of those things that you want to be having, like a carrot salad and, a fruit juice or something, and listening to that. I keep you up at night. I'm not sure, but nice to have you all here. That's right. This is Planet One. And so this one, we're going to do a little bit of things. We're going to break it up half and half. We're going to talk a little bit about some subject, and then I'm going to talk about something else that I just wanted to talk about. A couple of things. That's what this is about. This is the Freedom Network. That's what we're calling it on the podcast, Planet One. This is the Freedom Network, and that's why I designed it, so we can say what we want to say, which is kind of what's leading me into our conversation about social media. It's about freedom. How much freedom do we have in social media today? Putting stuff out there for people to see. It all depends. Depends on your mindset. Depends what platform it is. There's just a few of them out there, right? We've got Instagram. We've got TikTok now. And Facebook, which has been around for a number of years, probably since 2006, 2007. So one of the things I want to talk about is the platform about what we post and what tends to be now part of our society, part of our culture, is commenting on somebody's post. And how do you feel about that? Right? How do you feel about taking the time and effort to post something that you have in your heart, that's on your mind, and then all of a sudden, you've got all these people coming in and giving you their opinion? How do you feel about that? I mean, did you put that out there specifically for someone, for an intent for someone specifically? Did you name them? Probably not. But yet, we have these people now. Some of them could be friends on your Facebook, because many of us have a lot of people on our Facebook. We don't always interact with them. We don't. I mean, I've got close to 2,000, and I probably have like maybe 30 or 40 that interact with me, if that. Which is kind of like, why do you have those many people on your Facebook if you're not engaged with all those people? When you put something on your Facebook page and you post something, and I'm not saying it's radical, it could be, but it could be political. It could be something that you're dealing with or something that you heard and you want to give your position on it. Now we have people that are going to come in there and tell you, well, you know what? I don't like what you posted. This is what I think. That's not true. It's not a fact. What I'm telling you is a fact. And why did you post it? And now you got all this stuff going on now. Then you look down and see who commented and you're like, what in the world is that? Like, what? Why are they even saying that? And that's what we got going on in our society today. People who probably don't even post on their own platform. They don't even put things on their own social media. But they are going to just wait until you put something there, and then they're going to come at you and tell you exactly what they think, because it's a right to do so. We feel we have the right to tell you on your post what we think. Now, some of you may not like this. You may not like this tone. Some of you may be applauding right now and saying, Greg, that's exactly true, because that's one of the reasons why I don't post stuff anymore. Because of all this nonsense of people coming in and giving me their 2 cents. And I wasn't asking for it. But it's almost like a given now. There's some sort of underlining tonality out there about saying you can go ahead and let them know what you think because you have the right to do it in social media. You have the right to go after them, to tell them that what they're saying, what you personally are saying, that's coming directly from you in your heart, is not accurate and it's not right. I call that an invasion of speech. I also think of it as home invasion. I mean, that's really the way I look at it. Because all that stuff that's on your Facebook page or TikTok, but maybe Instagram or some other platform, but really mostly Facebook, it's all set up about you, what you do, where you grew up, high school, college, education, jobs, who you're related to. It's a family sort of thing, and it's also business. We have business pages, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the public, personal page of social media. And it is personal. That's why they call it that. So if you think about it, what's going on inside of your house is personal and it's private. Even though social media is not private, you can set it up that way, but generally we don't. Think of it this way. You got your house set up all nice. You got your furniture, your couches, chairs, recliners. You've got things on the wall, pictures, photographs, entertainment center, all of those things in your house. You love the way that it's all set up because it's your house. But then somebody knocks on the door and walks in and tells you, I don't like any of this. I don't like the way you got it arranged. I don't like the furniture. I don't like the colors. I don't like the lamps. Why do you have things over here? And it doesn't resonate with me. I have a lot of problems with it. It doesn't comport to my thinking. The way you have your house set up is totally against my core beliefs, and this is the way I think that you should rearrange it. Well, that's trespassing, man. That's home invasion. It's what it is. And so we have to tolerate it. Do we really have to tolerate it? Well, I guess if you want to stay on it. But folks, why are we even in this now? Why are we even here telling other people, well, what you just said isn't true, or what you just said isn't a fact, and what I have to say is a fact because I just heard it on the news and they're telling me that it's true. So that's contrary to what you're saying on your post. And I don't like it. Too freaking bad. Get over it. It's not meant for you. I have the right to express myself the way that I want to express myself, and I shouldn't have to be infringed with your concerns. Unless I mention you directly, or I message you directly and tell you what I think, then you can come at me or tell me what you think. But it's criticism. We have to put up with criticism. It's just like in this business, just like in podcasting or in radio. When I was in radio, in a radio station, and I was on the air, I'd say things just like I'm saying things now. Well, not like this, because I had a format I had to follow and had a program director. Sometimes I'd go outside the box. That was part of my personality. People would call up and say something. And so I'd like, oh, okay. And then I had a conversation with my program director, and he's like, what's bothering you, man? I go, well, these people are calling up, and they're telling me, they don't like this, they don't like that. And he goes, well, look, think about it this way. Your phone's ringing, man. So people are taking the time to listen to you, and they're calling up and telling you what they think, even though they may be saying something that you think is critical, or they may be criticizing you about something, but the fact is that they're listening. And we've had people sitting at this music board before in the microphone, and nobody calls. Nobody calls the station. They're talking to you. They're calling you, and that's a good thing. I have to look at it in a number of ways. Social media is different. It really is. I think that we should all try to take a deep breath and chill out, because many people now have just evaporated from that space. We have. Many people just decided, I'm only going to post things that obviously are not going to elicit a response, because if you put things about, this is what I had for dinner, this is the restaurant I went to, this is where me and my family are at, this is the event we went to, and was really happy to be here, and we're on a vacation, look at us, look at my scenery, look at the water. You get likes and loves. You don't get, well, what are you doing there? I don't understand why you're in that place. When you post something else, just like the title of this song, those of you who were listening at the beginning, this was the Doobie Brothers. And this song goes back a long way. I mean, we're talking about 40 years, maybe longer, maybe back in the 70s. And the title of this song, if you were listening, is Jesus is Just All Right. Well, today that's kind of controversial. People might be telling you, hey, you can't name a song like that. Why are you naming it after him? Why not this one? Why not that one? Why Jesus? That's offensive to me. But back then, it was different because there was a political statement going on, because that basically started about another song talking about, which was oppression, growing up in a city, urban areas, things were happening. People were living in poverty and talking about control and society and telling people how to live. And so there was a statement. Now, whether or not the guys in the band, had a relationship with Jesus, I don't know. But they liked the fact that Jesus was all right with them. And they don't care what people say, and they didn't care. It's called freedom. We need to try to get back to that. We're under like a verbal control now. That's what it is. So that's why I got this sucker, Planet One. It's the Freedom Network. So that was my mantra on social media. You don't agree? That's fine. I bet you right now that you probably think at least 3 or 4 times before you post something, don't you? You probably made a bunch of edits and thinking about, should I put that out there or not? Maybe I'll just put it up in that little 15-second. That's the other thing that we've got now. We've got that little fast thing up at the top where people can just look at it. You can add music. You can have that little background. You can have all those little fuzzy things going on. And you can say something kind of controversial, but it's only about 10 seconds. And people really don't respond to that. But if it's on your feed, you're all going to be thinking about, how should I craft this one? And that's how it is. Oh my goodness, Greg, you're killing us here. You're killing us. Let's talk about education. I want to talk about education. That's a lot of fun. Education is a lot of fun. And I want to talk about this pencil that we all used to have. Now, some of you are listening to this. It may not be around the same era where I grew up, because I'm a baby boomer. I mentioned this on the last podcast. I'm 60 now. I was in high school. I started in 1976. I was a freshman in high school. But even before then, in junior high, right, we had elementary, and then we had this bridge. We had this little 2-year bridge between elementary school and high school, and that was junior high. I had classes. I had exams, quizzes. I was not a great student. I wasn't. I was probably average, below average. And so the era that I grew up was in 76. I graduated in 1980. I did graduate from high school. I did pretty well in the last 2 years. I kind of woke up when I was a sophomore. Freshman, junior, I had a lot of identity issues, man. I had a lot of things going on that I was trying to figure out, like, where do I fit in, if I fit in at all. My hair was really long, and because back then you only had like 2 categories. You had rockers and jocks. You're either a part of the rock or you're part of the jock. Which group did you identify yourself with? And some of us, we didn't have either one, because I wasn't a jock and I really wasn't a rocker, even though I tried to be, because I had long hair and all of that. But I was kind of like in the middle. I wanted to be around a lot of people, and it didn't really matter what you did or how you associated yourself and what category you were. I didn't really care. That's how I was. So it was kind of hard for me to try to fit in. And maybe same thing with you. Maybe even today in school, you're struggling with identity and trying to fit in. Well, we have all these different categories now of different identities. Instead of just saying, you're you and I'm me, let's all get along. So back then, we didn't have technology. Obviously, that makes sense. We didn't have that type of technology today. If you had to take an exam, you had to have a number 2 pencil. Teacher told you.
Good morning, class. Class. Stop! Thank you.
You have to have a number 2 pencil. If you don't have a number 2 pencil, you better not come to class. Or you better have one before you come to class. So everyone's like,
Class. Stop! Thank you.
Mom, I got to have a number 2 pencil. Where do I get one? I need one. And don't forget about having to stand up in line to get that pencil sharpened. We ain't dealing with number twos anymore. Quite frankly, I don't know what happened to pencil number one. I mean, one comes before two, logically. So where's pencil number one? Nobody liked it. It was number one. It was alone. It was a loner. Didn't get along with anybody. So they just got rid of it. Make it a number two. Two's better than one. I don't know. So now we just got number two. And if you didn't have a number two pencil, you had problems trying to get that quiz or that exam done and get your writing done. But what do we have today? Well, you got to log in, you got a username, and you got a password, and you've got some internet connection with a link so you can get into your classroom. But before, the other link to get in your classroom was getting through the doors and running down the hall to get in your class. And you better make sure that you are down the right hallway into the right classroom, because sometimes I walked into the wrong class. It's like, uh-oh, this is not your class, Mr. Angello. Yours is down there. You're in the wrong classroom. That's like going into the wrong Zoom. Have you ever gotten onto a Zoom thing and you're in, no, I don't belong in this one. That's the Zoom class. It's all crazy now, folks. I mean, the whole setup with internet and how we are doing things today is just, it blows my mind. It really is. I mean, I was taking a CE class and everyone was just going in there, logging in. You got to make sure that you had your number that they gave you to make sure it was you. You had to log in ahead of time and get your virtual seat. Now, can you imagine telling someone next to you in a virtual seat, I don't want to sit next to you? Jimmy's sitting next to me, and Jimmy don't care. He ain't moving. How you going to make Jimmy move? You can't move his desk because he don't have one. He could be on his phone. His desk is his phone. He's logging in on his phone, and he's on Zoom, and he's in his classroom on his phone. You don't know where he's sitting at. If he's sitting in the front, if he's sitting in the back. You don't have to worry about, teacher, I can't see the board. Because I was kind of like a backseat student. I kind of like the back seat. And the teacher would say, you know, all the A students sit up in the front. That's where they sit. We don't have that today. We don't. I mean, you're seeing what everyone else is seeing. Your screen could be different. It could be smaller. I have a laptop, 15 and something inch. It's pretty good. I've seen some of these people working on these little 13 or 12-inch screens or 9-inch ones. I don't know how in the world they do that. I mean, it blows my mind. I got to have stuff freaking blown up so I can see it. Now, when I was taking exams back then, you know, I prepared, tried to study, do the homework, all of that stuff. Come into classroom, got my number 2 pencil. I got my line paper, put my name on it, getting ready for the test. And I was nervous, anxious, a little bit scared. Waking up all morning, getting dressed, getting ready to go to school. Parents like, what's wrong with you? You hungry? No, I'm okay. I'm all right. I got a test this morning. Oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You'll pass it. You'll fine. Now, I'm not saying I wasn't going to pass, but I was freaking out whether or not I would. Is it any different now with technology because we don't have a number 2 pencil? We don't have lined paper. No. It's all what's going up in your head. You can be preparing for an online exam and still freak out the same way you did when you were in your class, sitting there, but you can't look to the left now and look to the right and look down to see what Billy was that? What was that? She put false. Was that false or was that true? Shh, don't. We're going to get in trouble. Can't do that now. And then if you make a mistake, you got an eraser. So you take the eraser and you get it out because you had those little circles. I mean, later on, they called them Scantrons. I don't remember what they were back in 78, 79. I don't know what they were. They were just write down 1 through 10, put your answers, and make sure your name is on it, and turn it in. And then you get your grade later. It's different now because now you just click on the box, true or false, A, B, C, or D. And what? Once you hit click and send, that's it. It's like, oh man, was I C or was that B? Which one did I hit? So it doesn't really matter the technology or no technology. Your mindset about passing an exam is still the same. You probably prepared for it. You've taken online classes. You've gone through I don't care what it is. If it's even the prep for college, right? You've got the GMAT. I had to take that. I took a GMAT. And then you have your LSAT. For those of you who have ever gone to law school, you have to take a law school acceptance exam. That stuff wasn't online. Everything was done in pencil and paper and pen. It's different now. It's all virtual. But being anxious for an exam or anything that we strive to do in life that we feel that we're ready for, that we're prepared for, it could be preparing for a race. It could be a marathon. It could be taking some sort of an event that you have to stand up in front of and talk to people, and you prepared for that. Maybe you have a coach and you coached on speaking. If you're mentally not prepared for it, then whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It doesn't matter whether or not it's an internet or if it's all manual. But one of the ways to prepare for things like that is to what? Is to have the mindset that you've already accomplished it. It's one of the things I learned when I was younger. When you sit down in your seat and you're going to take the exam, I want you to visualize that you've passed the exam and you've done well. And think about it over and over again. It's the same thing that we're doing today when you're going online and doing some sort of an exam. You want to think about the fact that you've already accomplished it and you've reached your goal, which is passing the exam. Just like when I had to study to take my real estate exam. Everyone is like, you're going to pass it, don't worry about it, you're going to be fine. Well, not everyone passes it. And not everyone passes it on the first time. But the question is you may have sat through virtual classes or you had your 20 hours of your pre-licensing. It could be for insurance. It could be for being a loan officer. It could be for stockbroker, health insurance. If you've already put in your mind that you've already passed and you already have your certificate and you have your license before you sit in the chair and do it, well, you're ahead of the game. That's why mind building and mind strengthening, being in the gym, I know we use that reference a lot. And that's kind of like the message, man. It's kind of like the message here is work on something positive of where you are right now. Think about it's already accomplished and it's all going well for you. Because the more that you think that way of things that are happening for you, instead of saying, you know what, I really don't know if I'm going to pass that class. I know I studied a lot, but oh my goodness, man, I know I'm going to fail it. Well, then you probably will. Because we always tend to go to the negative before we go to the positive. As soon as we are not feeling well, we like to tell people, hey, how you doing today? I feel sick. I don't feel well. All right, did you go to the doctor? No. Do you have a fever? No, I didn't take my temperature. You're telling me you're sick. Yeah, I just don't feel good. I don't know what it is. I don't feel good. I feel tired. I feel achy. I don't know if I have a fever. Maybe I should see it, but I don't feel good. Okay. Is the sun shining? Yeah. It's nice out. Then what's the problem? Why are you telling me that you're sick? You don't even know if you are sick. Even if you are, well, what? How sick are you? I mean, did you get a diagnosis of something? No, I mean, I even hate going to the doctor. Oh, okay. So then you just diagnose yourself. Think about this for work. Remember we used to call up your boss if you did that and say, my supervisor, or you got to make sure which one you're going to call, right? I mean, who answered that phone? Hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm sick. Just let him. No, wait, hold on a minute. I'll put you through. Yes, what's going? Hey, it's Greg here, and I'm not feeling really well. Well, what's wrong? Are you sick? Yeah, I'm not feeling really well, and I'm not going to be able to make it in today. Well, you need to go to the doctor. If you don't go to the doctor and come in with a doctor's note that you're sick, then I'm not going to pay you. Okay. So are you sick? Well, I'm feeling just a little bit better now. I'm maybe about 10 minutes later or so, but I'll be there. You probably weren't sick. Well, you ain't sure in the heck ain't weren't going to go to the doctor, because then you got to sit there and doctor's going to ask you all these questions, and he's going to take your temperature and look here and look there, and he's going to say, ain't nothing wrong with you. But what about today? You send a chat. You go into the chat room and you go, yeah, I'm going to be off. I'm going to be offline today. That's it. I'm going to be offline for about 4 hours. Okay. Well, let us know when you're back online. Okay, great. Hey, and while you're offline, make sure you get this done, you get that done. And yeah, sure. But my dog is, my dog's not feeling well either, so I'm going to have to, oh, yeah. It's okay. Well, just make sure your dog's okay and get back online and everything will be fine. Folks, this is where we're at now. I didn't want to get too heavy in all this stuff. I'm hoping you're laughing a little bit about this because it's really true. The workforce is so much different. It really is. And we don't have as many people going into the office. They were just talking about that. Someone was just saying, well, Fridays, a lot of people weren't even going into work on Fridays. So now that they're only home, 3 days a week instead of 5, maybe that's not a bad thing. Who's doing the work? Your computer? Virtual assistants? In our business, you can have a virtual assistant. You can have a virtual transaction coordinator. I don't even have to do anything. Just, this is the stuff. Go get this sign, drop it in these spots, and that's that. Well, you can have like a virtual assistant at your job. You can have a secretary. Why can't you just have a virtual assistant? And mask your identity. That's it, man. That's wild. All right. Well, that's it, folks. That's it. I got to wrap it up. We're about 30 minutes or so into this one. I like to keep those around a 30-minute mark. Hope you enjoyed this one. Love to hear your comments. And if you want to learn how to podcast and do this thing, I'll be more than happy to talk to you. Podcast University on Planet One. So that's it. We're going to wrap it up for this day and time. We wish you all the best. Take care of one another. For Planet One, Greg Angello on the Freedom Network. Take care. See you all soon.